Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is Constant Agitation, your weekly podcast. I'm Jimmy, and as always, I'm joined by Eva.
Hi everyone.
How are you doing?
Good. Busy last week. Actually, feels like we leave 3 weeks in between this
Right?
last podcast and this podcast.
So much happened in the last
Right?
week.
Yeah.
During the past week, we gained a lot of new
Subs. Yeah.
I was gonna say we gained a lot of new members in the family,
Yes.
the Crunchy Fingers family, and we'd like to welcome you. Maybe a lot of you are watching the show for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It seems pretty empty here in the room. There is nobody yet live. I mean, it's the summer.
It's at
Everybody's
the end of
out
July. Yeah.
enjoying the weather, but I'm sure people will start coming in. But a lot of you are watching after the fact, so welcome as well. And you might be listening to this on the podcast app.
Yes. We do get like a regular 12, 15 listens, so
Yeah.
it's interesting.
So what was I going to say? Welcome to the show. This is Constant Agitation, our weekly podcast where we talk about a different photographer every week. We usually have, not usually, but sometimes have some questions, sometimes have some news that we
Mhm.
like to cover. There was not any news today.
We thought there might be some good news, right?
Yeah.
Or news to talk about.
Yeah, there wasn't though. I mean, if you open your YouTube app right now, you will see like 7 videos talking about the new Sony camera, which is like just another different digital camera. I don't know what's the point of. Anyways,
I mean, I think the bloggers bloggers are a big market, and I think that's what they're catering for,
yeah.
basically.
Uh,
Although bloggers are becoming more and more like tech, like they go with rigs that are insane. Some bloggers.
Yeah, a lot of people are using their phones. I think
Also, yeah.
I think phones are pretty good. Like if you have one of the newer smartphones nowadays.
I mean, the 2 or 3 vlogs that I made taking photos around, I really like how they look.
Right?
Even though it's kind of like crazy go with the monopod around with the selfie stick. But
Yeah, but it takes a lot of the fiddling with the camera out of the equation.
yeah, definitely. It's very streamlined,
Yeah.
very simple and easy.
If you don't get too stressed about like post-processing or whatever, you just focus on making the content. I think the phone is brilliant.
Yeah.
You just click record and, start talking to the camera,
Mm-hmm.
which gives you, kind of forces you to focus more on what you're doing with your recording rather on how it looks and all your cinematic slow motion stuff.
I wonder, did you actually watch any of the videos about the new Sony camera?
I did watch one.
What new do they bring to the table?
I
That one?
wasn't sure because
Yeah.
I watched Camera Conspiracies and I just watched it for the
Yeah,
comedic
for
value.
the comedy.
But yeah, I didn't really pay attention to anything about the camera itself. I think they changed a few things. They took out some features, put in different features.
Maybe some more stabilization. Perhaps that would be nice. Especially if it's marketed at bloggers and hand.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The main takeaway that I got from it is that it has, I think it has a bigger sensor than the old one, which is not necessarily a good thing because that APS-C sensor has a problem with the rolling shutter.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the rolling shutter is like when your verticals are doing this in the shot.
Yes. Quite trippy.
Let's see. Yeah, you can see some rolling shutter on my hand actually. My hand is fairly straight. Maybe I should have a stick.
Well, I mean, you were actually doing it like this.
Yeah. No, at first
Yeah, you
first
can
I
see
was
a bit.
doing this, but like if it's a straight line, yeah, there is not much rolling shutter on this one. This one is really good with the rolling shutter, the Olympus CM1. But I was thinking that because of the bigger sensor, these digital sensors, they record the image from top to bottom or bottom to top,
Yeah.
and so at fast swinging motion, you get this wobbly effect.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a vlogger, you're like holding the camera and you're probably turning around a lot and pointing
Yeah.
at things behind you or like flipping it around to show what's in front of you. And I think it will be like maybe nauseating with that rolling shutter.
Yeah, I actually didn't know this was such a big of a problem. Maybe because the cameras we've been using, we don't really see it. Not even with the phone. I don't think I remember seeing it so much.
Because the phone is a tiny screen,
Yeah.
a tiny sensor. So
Mhm.
you're not gonna have an issue with that. I think the other main difference they talked about was that they took away the ND filter. So apparently the old ZV-1 had a built-in ND filter, but I mean, don't quote me on that. There's a bunch of reviews. Go watch them if you're
Yeah.
interested. But I think they took that out. They put in a bigger sensor or something like that. But I don't know. I'm not interested in
In those
those
small cameras, yeah.
They're fun. They're really like we actually recommended it to a friend who is starting like an Instagram account about their business,
Yeah.
and they want to make a lot of content. And it's a really tiny camera that goes out of the way, and they have this like remote tripod for it. I think that still applies to the new one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for something more exciting. I follow Emulsive on
Yeah.
on Twitter, and they tweeted this really funny tweet about it being, what was it, that Sony was gonna sell its camera division back to Minolta,
Yeah.
so like that.
And
Yeah,
they're gonna make a film camera.
Yeah. It gave me hope, but I immediately knew it was a joke. But yeah, go if you're on Twitter, go follow Emulsive. They're fun. Hey Devin, glad to have
you. Yeah.
Yeah, glad to have you here. It's quite slow today.
Mm-hmm. Summertime.
I don't know because YouTube might be bugging out and not showing us if there is anybody. But usually people come in and say hi. But it's the summer.
Yeah.
So Devin, if you have something more fun to do, we won't hold it against you. If you want to go have some fun and come watch us later.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, you're welcome to stay. So today, as I mentioned earlier, no news besides that news, the new Sony camera that probably none of you care about. And the other thing was that there's no questions. Everybody's busy.
Definitely.
Nobody has any time to ponder photography or film photography specifically. But we have a really cool photographer to talk about today.
Yeah, actually. So this week has been quite busy photography-wise, apart from the works that we have to do and a couple of assignments. I've been taking an online course on photography just because, there's always things to learn.
Yeah.
And there is these platforms that provide so much content, so much good content and good education from many institutions around the world, top-notch universities, other kind of research institutions, and even art institutions. And I was like, I wonder if because I took courses before, but they were all related to my work and science and writing, scientific writing and stuff like that. I was like, I'm sure there are something about photography. And there's a lot about design and design concept. There is a lot about using, Photoshop and all these like softwares and tools and stuff like that. But I wanted something more like conceptual or something more that makes me think about photography. And I actually found a course on Coursera from MoMA, from the Museum of Modern Art, that is called Seeing Through Photographs. And I just started last week, so I haven't taken. There's 7 weeks course, and it seems amazing because they basically dig on the MoMA's archive of photograph. The curator, one of the curators working at MoMA, is the one that leads the course, and she has structured the course in a specific way, and then uses examples from things they have there. So they even show you the original pieces. It's not just like what you can see, maybe a photograph or a screenshot or something in a website, but she actually explains through the photos and even how the photos were made and the difference between different processes and all alternative processes as well. And also conceptual, a lot of content and a lot of interviews with artists and going into their studios and seeing how they think about photography as well. So I'm really happy that I'm taking the course because I'm learning a lot, but also I'm kind of gathering a lot of material for ourselves and for the podcast and things to share with you guys as well. So today we're going to talk about a photographer that I found taking this course and that apparently is not very well known nowadays outside of the original country where the photographs were taken, which was Brazil. So I think I feel very happy that we're going to talk about her and maybe bring it up to more people outside of Brazil.
I mean, once you showed me the photographs, I was super excited. But then when I tried to read her name, I was instantly worried that I'm gonna butcher it 7,000 times on the show today.
Probably.
Yeah, there's like, how do you know how to? I don't know, but I'm gonna give it a try. All right.
All right. What's her name?
Don't put me on the spot like that. It's wait, I can't remember the last name. I need to find it somewhere to read it. It's Gertrudes.
Gertrudes.
That's her first name.
Yeah.
I think I got it right. Altschul. I think her name is pronounced Gertrudes Altschul.
Gertrudes Altschul. That's how I would say it as well. And that's how I think I heard the teacher of the course saying it as well. Yeah.
Oh, you had a reference. You heard it being read.
Yeah.
You should have started with it.
It's Gertrudes Altschul. Yeah.
All right. And there she is.
Yes, that's her. That's her at one of her exhibitions. So she was born in Germany in 1904. And as you can imagine, Jews had a lot of problems in Germany all through the 30s and the 40s and the beginning of the Second World War. So she decided to emigrate with her husband to Brazil. She had apparently on the records not done any photography back when she was living in Germany, although she was kind of part of a community of people that were thinking quite progressively. They were into arts, and that was also, they were kind of like not very well received either in Germany, these kind of thinkers. So she was in that community, but no known signs of any photography done back there in Germany. And then in 1939, she moved to Brazil with her husband and settled in Sao Paolo. And she had a business with the husband that had to do also nothing with photography. She actually was making decorative flowers, handmade decorative flowers for women's hats and blouses. So she kind of was, a little bit creative and artistic in tinkering with things and doing things with her hands, I guess. And she was very attracted by botanical motifs. I guess that's why they were also working on making like kind of flower arrangements. And the first instances of photography that we can find of her is actually of botanical motifs. Here we're seeing, let me see, are we seeing it? Yeah. We're seeing some photographs of parts of plants. So it's a little bit what I see with her photograph.
This one looks like a multiple exposure.
Yeah, multiple exposure, and she did experiment a lot with how can we take these elements and use them in a way that is a little bit confusing, or like you don't really know what is it that you're looking at. The first thing that I got in my, like the feeling that I got when I saw these photographs, first it reminded me a lot of the work by Imogen Cunningham, because she did a lot of work on botanicals and the things that you have around and in your doorstep. And the way that she composes her photos also reminds me a lot, which is a lot into detail and using angles that are a little bit disorienting. You don't really know what's up, what's down. This plant could be up or could be down or could be just a small part or could be a bigger part of the plant, or sideways. Like it really, the sense of scale and the space is not important for the photographs that she's doing. And she also did a lot of experimental work. Like here we're seeing something that could remind us of solarization, possibly.
Yes.
Photograms, rheographs as well. I'm not sure how familiar she was with the work of Van Rey. I assume quite a lot, because the thing is that she was a completely amateur photographer. This means that even though she had this amazing work done, she never pursued making a career or earning money out of photography. She was part of what is called the Foto Cine Clube Bandeirante from Sao Paolo. So that's how she got introduced to photography. She joined this club of people that were interested in photography. They actually were associated to a photo store that was on the city. And this photo club started earlier in the 39s, but she didn't join until 52. So there was a bit of time since she came to Brazil till when she decided to actually join the photo club. And the photo club in its beginnings was more focused. We should put the colors now.
Sorry about the noise outside. It's too hot and the door is open.
The club at the beginning was very focused on pictorialism, and I guess this is because it was what was trendy when they started, right? But later in time, but by the mid-40s, the club kind of changed a bit in the structure. Some new people joined the club, and they also started to include women, which was something that they didn't have before. And she's one of the few women that actually was kind of like a flagship of the club and the club's work, because a lot of her photographs were widely shared from the club in the magazine and bulletins and in all sorts of like material that the club was was making.
This one is reminding me of Anna Atkins. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, no, I didn't. One of the earlier episodes that we did on a very, very old photographer, Anna Atkins, from the late 1800s, that she did a huge collection of algae studies on cyanotypes. So it's camera-less photography. So it's these photograms, this using light and using objects and using light-sensitive material, but without really using a camera. So I think she also was looking into those photography processes and doing different experimentation. In the end of the day, she was experimenting with photography as a means of expressing what she wanted to tell, through the photographs. What I was saying is that this club kind of changed its tracks from being, more into pictorialism and portraying pictorialism within their members to a more modernistic aesthetic, because also in that moment Sao Paulo was growing as a city a lot. So people started to realize that, just capturing the romanticism of the countryside again and again in these photos that really look more more like paintings than photography is not really what they were interested about. So this group really focused on urbanism and sharp geometries, trying to capture the city growing around them in angles that could reminisce of the fast change that it was happening around them, right? Like what I see in a lot of the photos that we're seeing, and maybe we see some more later, and also from the group, not only her, people that were part of this photo club, is that it's a little bit like the buildings are closing on you, right? Like when you see these photos, it's like you can see, this is one of the contact prints that she did. It's like these sharp angles, super low visions of the city growing right above you, in front of you. It's like you are this tiny thing in this ever-growing city that is happening around you, right? So I think they were very interested in representing these big structures that way, and she was really good at it. I think like her work is just so beautiful. I'm so happy that we found out this photographer.
Some of these photos are amazing,
right?
Yeah.
She had sadly very short photographic life because she joined the group in 1953. I think she was taking photos perhaps a little bit early as well, just for her own, not being part of the club. But then she fell ill by the end of the 50s, early 60s, and she passed away in 1963. So that's why there's also not a lot of material from her. And everything was kind of like what happened within the club and nothing else. It wasn't really shared around. Very few people knew of her work also. This one I really, really like. I wonder what camera was she using, because there is not a lot of information about the processes that she was using. I mean, for the photos that we're seeing, I assume she also had quite experience on the darkroom, because there are some photos that are supposedly collages or like juxtapositions of different negatives all together to make one image. So we can safely assume that she was also well versed in the use of the darkroom. The way that we see these very contrasting scenes in art is called chiaroscuro. So it's like very clear parts, very bright parts, and very dark parts. I think this is done in the darkroom, right? So this is what we're seeing is the end result. And I mean, when I see these photos, I'm like, I just want to keep looking at them. They are so good.
They're so satisfying to look at.
Right?
I think my two favorites are coming up next.
Yeah.
After this one. But this one I haven't seen before. It looks so nice.
Yeah, this one you haven't seen. I really dig deep on the internet, on the interwebs, to find more than just the 10 pieces that the MoMA has in their website.
Oh, did you mention that there's a running gallery?
Yeah, no, I didn't mention it. So actually, I believe that this course was updated very recently, because they didn't have about this photographer or this group of photography club before, because right now the Museum of Modern Art is having a exhibition. It's called Fotoclubismo, the Brazilian modernist photography and the Foto Cine Clube Bandeirante. So it's about them. There's a lot of pieces of her. I think they They took 12 pieces out of Brazil to bring them to. They bought them, so they are now part of the permanent collection at MoMA. And also of the other artists. I think I also sent you an article where there are some other photos from the other guys, because they're all guys, and her. And I'm really sad that we're here and we cannot go see it, because it would be a really, really nice exhibition. And they have also published a book. So if you are away from New York and you cannot get to New York before this exhibition finishes in September 26th, I think, you can still get in Amazon the book. It's called, it has the same title, Foto Clubismo, Brazilian Modernist Photography. And the cover of that book is a photo by Gertrudes, of course.
So cool. I'm glad they used one of her photos.
Yeah.
These are so nice. This one, we stared at this one for a while.
Yeah,
yesterday, and we couldn't figure out
I found
what is going on.
I found a little bit of info, not so much about this particular one. This one is called...
Is it upside down?
It's lines and tones. It's not upside down.
How do you know?
Because...
Wait, let's do this. Is it upside down?
It is not upside down. I don't think so. So what I read... Well, I can read you here what I found. In Lines and Tones, this photo is titled Lines and Tones.
Yeah.
The image organization occurs in the juxtaposition of the flat shape of a building and a curved line in an architectural mosaic that rises up vertically in the frame. Architectural elements as the generator of geometric compositions is the main theme of this kind of photographs, which tries to confuse the viewer in relation to the vision codes through unusual angles. So what I think is that she did, this was probably a square photo. That's first what I think.
Okay.
And she went pretty low angle. So what we're seeing here is kind of the ceiling of a part where you can walk underneath. So it has these pillars, right? And that's kind of like the ceiling of this structure.
Okay.
And then farther away from that structure that you can walk and you can be shaded from the sun, then you can see that building outside. And then what it confuses me is just the other triangle on the left side, which I don't know where it comes from. But I think this one, it's not a composite and it's a straight photo.
Yeah, but what's, like, hold on a second. This could be like another building going vertically up, and this thing could be going away from you, like you're under it, as you say. It's like a shaded area. First I was thinking it could be like a bridge, but it doesn't have to be a bridge, because it, like this finish on the edge, I don't know what it is, but it's so cool. I don't know, I was thinking for a second that it could be upside down, and these, like, this is the floor, right? And there's glass in the floor,
and then there is a reflection.
And there's a reflection. So this is like just a piece of glass that curves, and that building is in the distance, and you're seeing it reflected upside down. And these pillars are going into the ground rather than looking up, because, you know, if you're looking at the reflection on the floor, it's you kind of are looking up, but
of course, in a different way.
In the reflection. So
I mean, that would be a really cool photo, but for what I read here, it's actually taken from a low angle.
To be honest with you,
no
matter how I rotate it,
it's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yes. I mean, I just love it. Like,
did you there's a nice comment from Chronic. Did you see it?
No, I haven't actually.
Because since you're in charge of choosing the photographer of the week, I don't think you do it on purpose. I just think that we like whatever we find. I mean, something that we like, we want to talk about.
I don't do it fully on purpose, but I'm very happy when I find new female photographers that nobody really knows about, or they are not really talked so much.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that actually in this course that I'm taking, the teacher is really nice. She's like, I recommend to everyone. It's for free. If you don't want a certificate, anybody can take the course at your own pace. So she got a question from a student saying, how do you do to kind of raise up, what is the role of female in photography, you know? And she was saying that because a lot of people assume there weren't a lot of women in photography, right? Just like in another trades or artists, there are more men than women, whatever it is, just because the means weren't there for them. But actually, she says, and she has studied photography during 20, 30 years, that you can construct a pretty comprehensive history of photography as it happened only using female authors. It's just that they are not as talked about as males for whatever reason, but that there were many. Like it's not that they didn't exist. They are there. They have done a lot of work. They have also been trendsetters, as we have talked before. Anna Atkins, what was it? The Margaret, for example, as well. Like there's a lot of female photographers that have done a lot of work. It's just that you kind of have to find them and talk about them.
Yeah, I find it strange that they're more obscure than the men.
You're right. I guess biases and stuff like that, and
it's so strange.
Maybe it took more time to get recognition as well. I mean, what we're saying here, Gertrudes, she was an amateur photographer. This exhibition at MoMA is the first time that this work from this group is leaving Brazil. It has never been exhibited outside of Brazil. This curator found this work because she was doing another work with Brazil, and she came across some of these photos, and she was like, this is so interesting. Can I see more of this? And then she kind of dig deeper, and she was, like us, it was like, I want to bring this to the world. People need to see this.
Yeah, because these photos are really cool. This one as well is quite one of those confusing ones.
Yeah, so this one is called Architectura Architecture. It was taken in 1957, and it also tries to convey this disorientation of what is it happening. To be honest, it reminds me of Esker so much.
It does, because it feels like there is no up and down. It's like, where is anything coming from?
And I think it's a combination of the angles, but it's a combination as well of the time of the day when it was taken, where are the shadows falling, which elements are creating shadows and which elements are not creating shadows.
There's definitely a red filter being used here.
I think also the use of filters, the treatment in the darkroom, all of this together just works so well for the intent.
What I think is happening, I don't know if we already talked about this, what I think is happening now, and I feel like I'm more assured of it now that I look at it for the first time on this big screen, is that it's a very wide angle shot that is heavily cropped.
Yeah, that's what I think it was the other one as well.
All right.
I think that she didn't shy away from cropping the images and try to do whatever she needed to create the effect that she wanted.
Yeah, because otherwise, like if you're shooting with the long lens, you're not gonna get the same effect, right? You're gonna have more, like, it's gonna be more spread out, or I don't know.
It's really cool.
I wish somebody could help us right now.
Can you turn it around like you did with the other ones?
Yeah.
That also works like this a little bit.
I mean, it's perfect, this photo. However you turn it, it will look cool. But I think this one and the original... Well, I clicked on too many. So this one looks really cool, and this one looks really cool. These two are not as good.
Not as good, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, I don't know. I don't give that tip more often, but if you wanted to get creative with your photography,
turn them around.
I always do this when I take shots like this. I always, like, when I first open it on Lightroom, I'm spinning it around to see, like, maybe I missed something. Sometimes, like, when I take the photo, I twist my head around and stuff like that, but your camera doesn't hold it, so you can't actually rotate it. I used to play with digital stuff. So, like, as soon as I take it, I turn my camera around because I can preview it on the screen. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I see it. So now I take it intentionally and I readjust, like,
how you want
I want it to be flipped. But with the cool thing about it now that I'm thinking is that also with large format, because you're saying everything upside down, that kind of gives you an advantage.
It could be an advantage, or some people get very confused because they're like...
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to take something like the way it is, it can be confusing. But if you just want something to kind of like throw you into randomness and, point your camera at subjects that are not so clear, composing upside down, I think would be so cool, especially with like plant stuff. Plant material and stuff like that, when you're like coming in close up.
Super close, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's stunning work. She also experimented a lot with the things that she had at her hand around a home. Like for example here, this it's like so. To me, it's even goes beyond modernism, and it feels even more like surrealist. I would say these shapes, and I think this is a window, like a frosted window, like with a pattern window, and then using this mirror to get the reflection that changes the tonality as well, and this like hard shadows. It's surreal, really cool. But it's really, really, really interesting.
For sure. It almost, like, even though it's a straight photo, it almost blends in perfectly with other stuff like this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because even though it is a photo and it's not a photogram, it has those elements of trying to capture, I would say, the essence of the objects that you are capturing, right? Like.
Yeah, I agree. It's so cool. It is. It also, it looks like it hasn't been too manipulated, honestly. Like,
I think it's mostly the levels.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know. I'm not an expert on printing.
Yeah.
And I don't know I know nowadays like RC paper, not necessarily the RC, but like the Ilford multigrade you can really manipulate with the filters. I think back in the day you had to choose which contrast level
paper you want on the paper.
So I mean, like, if you get something that is contrasty, I think it doesn't need so much manipulation because
it is how it comes out. Yeah. I mean, and the choice of the exposure as well.
Of course, it's all in the exposure.
It's really, really well done. And the fact that the reflection on the mirror, it looks like a skin, a snake skin.
Yeah,
it doesn't even look like a real, like the reflection of that thing because of the angle and the tonality being changed.
But it's also probably one of those mirrors that like a magnifying mirror,
yeah,
because you can see the warping, and I think because of that effect, it kind of like loses some of the light reflectivity, so that's why it's a bit underexposed.
It's so
potentially,
cool.
possibly, yeah. I don't know. Everybody's commenting on the glasses today. By the way, even though I love my hater blockers, that's what I jokingly call these. I forgot my actual glasses in the car. That's why I'm wearing these. But I'm happy about it because
people like them. You should.
Because this panel is very strong, and I'm sitting closer to it than Eva, so it's like usually blasting me. I get a headache by the end of the show. So now I'm feeling nice. I'm glad you guys like them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool work. Here we are seeing now more abstract work, definitely. It's called Abstract Concrete, this one. Concreto Abstracto. By the way, I realized that I can read Brazilian like there's no problem.
Of course.
Very similar. When they speak, I don't understand, but reading is much easier to understand.
Did I tell you guys how much I love the Brazilian, like the Brazilian language? And I know it's Portuguese, but it's just better when
how they speak Brazilian.
Yeah, it's just so like seductive the whole time.
It's very swaggy.
Like somebody's asking me for direction. Okay, just take me.
Damn it, I'm not Brazilian.
Anyways.
So this so one, cool. For example, this one, it's one of my favorite. This is the one that we chose yesterday for our post on Instagram. This is the one that they chose for the cover of the book that Mama made about their group.
It's brilliant.
It's perfect. This photo is perfect. I mean, I could say that is one of the most beautiful photos that I ever seen.
I agree.
It looks like a painting, like a very, very detailed painting. It looks like something that would take someone years to make to this perfection. It represents Brazil because this is a papaya leaf. It just is actually, she titled it Filigrana, which is actually filigrane, I think it's called in English. I don't remember now.
No, it's filigree.
Filigree. Okay, filigrana is in Spanish and in Portuguese. Yeah, so filigree is when an artist makes a very intricate pattern into something that they make handmade. Okay. Like, what is the description that it says there?
What? Oh, the definition?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's ornamental work of fine wire formed into delicate tracery.
Yes, so it's done with wires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's just a very, very fitting title for the photo.
And you know what? I know that word is frowned upon right now, but I just really love the tones. I do. I mean,
I know. It's just
it's so good.
how do you get all those different like it's just the shadows in some parts of it to give you a little bit of depth, as well as the translucency of the leaves and the veins and I don't know, it's just I love it. It's so beautiful.
It's such a beautiful leaf too. Like all of these curves here
Yeah.
around the edges. It's such a cool leaf, but the exposure, the print, everything. I don't know how they get these tones again because I'm not experienced with printing, but I'm assuming this is a photo of a print. I don't know if it gets
it is.
old.
I think it says
or
down there probably what type of print
or
it
if
is.
it's stained somehow. So let's see.
It
It's
doesn't
a
say.
gelatin
It's a
silver print.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Well, this is just
a
about
description
her.
about her.
It doesn't say much more than that.
No. Yeah, but it's definitely one of my favorite ones. Like, it's just so cool.
Actually, between 56 and 62, the group and the people around her encouraged her to submit it to 18 different salons, national and international, and she was this photo was accepted for 8 different ones. So very successful photo, and it was also published in the bulletin with her obituary when she passed away. That was kind of like the representation of her work. I think this is one of her most famous and best photographs, although it's very different from other work that she did. I really like that she did different things and she did them also well, right? Like this is, in essence, it's quite similar, but it's different, the skills are different.
I just love how flat the subject is, but how 3D the photo looks.
Right? Like, how did she do this? There is light coming from behind?
Yeah. I think this is shot against the sky.
Yeah.
That's my guess. My guess is that she's on her, like, if this is a plant, it's definitely a plant. What am I saying? But it's like, if it's a floor, it's a papaya leaf.
It's a papaya leaf.
So how tall is the papaya tree? It's pretty tall, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I
never seen a papaya tree in my life.
Something like a coconut tree.
I mean, if this is actually taken out of the tree, it has 100 times more my appreciation.
Yeah, she could be using a long lens. Or maybe like the leaves grow at the bottom of the tree. I don't know, but it looks to me, because these shadows over here.
Yeah, it looks like,
they're intense. Like they're... Hold on.
No, this is not a shadow. This is like a
it's a shadow.
Yeah.
It's the shadow of this leaf and this leaf because they're bent.
Yeah.
So they're creating a shadow on these. So I'm assuming there's a light source coming from this direction. And this looks like evenly lit. So it could be the sky, unless she had it somewhere like against the window or something like that. But this is also in the shade. And I don't know. It's just so... I don't know. We can stop gushing about this photo.
It's beautiful.
there are other people watching. Yeah. We have to be careful. These are cool as well. Hey, CM. This one is
These
so
are
cool.
very cool as well. These are like pure abstract work.
I wonder if I can rotate this page. Yes, I can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, today I discovered the rotate tool, so I'm gonna make everybody dizzy.
It's really cool. I don't really know what is it that I mean, it looks like a football net, like a football goal net.
You think?
Yeah.
Actually, you might be right.
Against some sort of background or something like that.
But I don't think that's what it is.
I don't know. I don't really care. It's just very nice.
It is so good. Like at first,
it's like 3-4 photos on one. This must be some triple exposure.
No, it's one exposure. Look, you can see the shadows
that's
of
true.
the ropes. So these...
But there are 2 ropes. Two layers of ropes.
No. The other one is painted.
Ah.
So these white lines, these painted ones that go in like this, I think that those are painted directly. Or are they? Holy cow. Because
it's a maze. It's a maze of a photo.
They seem to interrupt the... Oh no, look. So you can see the shadow of this here.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Or the other one too.
And so this looks everywhere. So
So
this
there are
looks like it's
two
painted.
layers of nets.
But look, this one is faded. So it looks like it's a painting on a wall. I think it's some kind of like architectural installation. Oh, okay. Not gonna even try this one.
These ones, I know what they are because I read it. No, because of it.
All right.
These are two baskets, actually.
Baskets.
Baskets. Like they're
Yeah,
looking
I can
this,
see the weave.
and then there is the shadow from so two lights put from the side of the two baskets. So you have the shadow of the basket, and then
Is
the
it
shadow
upside down?
Yeah, the basket is upside down.
So cool. It almost looks like a
Wings or something?
Rorschach sheet.
A what?
Rorschach sheet? Rorschach, is that how you say it? Rorschach sheet? You know those sheets where like you put some ink and then you close it and you open it? They use them in like psychology. Rorschach
I don't
sheets.
know how it's called. We call it guess what is this to you?
Is that what you call it? I think they're called Rorschach sheet. There was like one of
I'm
those
sure. Yeah.
superhero movies about it. Not about it, but one of the characters is called Rorschach, I think. And his face changes, like, and it like shows his emotions in Rorschach patterns.
Does
anybody know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen that movie.
There's a blue guy in the movie.
A blue guy?
Yeah. He's always naked. He's like the ruler of the universe. Anybody knows what I'm talking about?
Marvel?
It's not a Marvel thing. No. It's like one of those grim movies, like kind of like Dark Knight.
Devan says you're right.
I'm right. Yeah, thank you, Devin. But what is it called? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
But it's true.
That's it. The Watchmen. Yes. Yeah, thank you. I watched it so long ago, I forgot.
But yeah, so she really saw. I think this more than seeing it, you prepare it. So she had this idea. Let's play with these shadows and these patterns. I think she was very attracted by repetitive patterns and the play of the elements, subjects with strong lights and the shadows they create. Especially, like for example, here as well. This is like, I love it. I'm not gonna say I could have taken this photo because that's so tacky, but it's so nice.
For sure.
It is a scene that I would put my eye on. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously attracted for her work for a reason.
Yeah, right.
This one is so cool. I think she did a really good job in the short amount of time she worked in like really honing in how to kind of use photography and the world around her, whether it being set up by her or whether it being already existing, like a building or a staircase or whatever, to kind of get this like really cool abstract geometrical style that is, you know, it takes a lot of time
to see it,
to see it, and you know, again, like maybe there's a lot of artists probably from that period of time who were pioneers of that. There's a resurgence, of course, of that happening, at least from a few years back. I've seen a lot of people working with minimalist and like abstract stuff when it comes to photography, but there's something so magical about looking at older stuff because I feel like they worked with more. Nowadays you can kind of do a lot more, or like with the digital world and with the Photoshop and compositing, and you can make your work like super clean.
Yeah.
But there's something to the imperfection and the grittiness of the early work that I'm so mesmerized by it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, especially like this Rorschach one, the basket one, it's just so like raw in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so simple, but at the same time it's so open to interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. It's so simple, but it could be really complex depending how you want to see it and how you want to what do you want it to mean to you.
Like elements about it almost feel CG to me. You know what I mean? It feels like some of it feels drawn. The depth. I feel like she, unlike other pictures where she got everything in focus.
Yeah.
In this one, I feel like there's some depth of field here.
Yeah.
I feel like the focus is sharpest at the bottom of the basket, which is like facing up.
Yeah.
And it's falling off to the background and it's giving it this like ethereal is the word that I'm looking for.
Ethereal, yeah, feeling.
Feeling.
Yeah, I mean, her work it's full of this breaking the rules of the composition of photography as it was till that time. This is the 50s, you know, and it really playing with the lights and the shadows, the different planes, the rhythms with the elements within the photo, the shapes that bring the abstract feeling as well.
I love this one.
Changing the angles that you're taking the photos from.
Like if you look at this one from a distance,
Yeah.
it's just like, if you can't really tell what you're looking at here with the cigarette in the dish and everything, it almost feels like a beautiful abstract just made out of shapes that just falls nicely into the frame.
It's like different tonality and shapes, yeah.
And then as you zoom in, it doesn't lose it, like if you keep it with you. So like if you see it at a gallery from a distance and you're getting close to it, do you know what I mean? And it's then like she used like a piece of paper here to create the spotlight on the burning cigarette. But it's just very nicely well placed, and it's so simple yet so beautiful. And I think here there was an article.
Yeah, so this one is about the title. It says MoMA is the first museum outside Brazil to put the spotlight on Brazilian modernist photography, which is about the group that she was part on. So these are some of the photos from other people, other members as well. Yeah.
This is so cool. This is Roberto Yoshida.
Yeah, at first I thought that this was a reflection on some water that was moving, but then as you go closer, you realize that something else is going on there.
For sure. I feel like this was like many prints that are sliced and arranged.
Yeah, or
the
same photo that it was bigger, and then you cut in slices, and then you kind of rearrange it,
and then slide them. So cool.
A lot of this play with shadows and lights, very, very strong play. A lot of architectural photography, super juxtaposition of different elements of the urban of the urban scape. Like for example here.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, me too.
If we don't mess up the rolls that we shot in the past week, I kind of took one similar.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to get those ones, and that's the book actually.
Yeah.
So we can see the photo by Gertrudes there.
Yeah. Again, these are different photographers.
Yeah, this is not her, but
this one is Giulio Agostinelli.
Yeah.
And this one is Thomas Farkas.
Yeah, Farkas. So as I wrote here, the pioneers of this kind of style, which is actually part of the Photo Club. It was the Bandeirante Photo Club, but then they have this Escola Paulista within the Photo Club that was pioneered by people like the ones that we're seeing there, and then she became part of this area of the club.
But you mentioned that she was the only woman in the club. This one, it seems to be another. Maria
another
Helena Valente da Cruz.
Maybe she was the most condecorated, so to speak, or the one that had more success.
Or maybe she was an early member.
Yeah,
this one maybe joined later. Let's see. But it's also 1952.
All the photos in this exhibition is between 52 and 60 something. So all the photos are from the early post-war. Really good, right?
Oh, let's check out Andre and maybe some other.
So Jose, I have here names if we want to check. Jose Yalenti, Thomas Fercas, Geraldo de Barros, and Germán Lorca, for example. There were some.
I like this photo. I want to see more of this.
More artist. Of him, yeah.
What is this? I get like when I copy it, it doesn't work. Andre Carneiro.
Liro? I don't see well.
Yeah. All right, sorry about this.
But if you guys like these photos that you're seeing here and you like her work, I think you're really gonna enjoy the book. Like this is one of the books that I would recommend to get because there's something very different from other collections of photographs.
This one right here.
Yeah.
Fotoclubismo.
And have in mind, these old people were fully amateurs. These people that none of them really made a career out of being photographers or sold the photographs. They were just doing local contests and having local exhibitions and just enjoying the medium, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we see a lot of brilliant work from a lot of amateurs.
Yeah.
That's the thing about art. I feel like it's just because it's something that comes to you in a way. It's not something that, I mean, of course you can develop it and you can work at it and you can be like a trendsetter or somebody who creates something but it could be anybody in a way.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's in music, you can see that a lot. Like there's a lot of people who just, young people, for example, in their bedroom, they make a super hit song and then, everybody's enamored by them. But I feel like with the popularity of music is just so much more.
Yeah.
That it's possible for somebody as an amateur to
become a hit.
To become recognized and everybody knows about their...
Yeah, I think photography is much harder. Especially proper photography, I would say. And not like trendy type of things,
Yeah.
I mean, what I mean is like not to have 1,000 likes on Instagram, but to actually have your photograph in a museum, like the Museum of Modern Art or any other museums around.
Yeah, that's something that always bothers me because it feels like, there's a lot of talent out there that can be, celebrated. But then you see like, how do you define that? Like who sets the trends? And it's like, as a fine artist, for example, you are a photographer or a painter or whatever. In order for you to sell your work, for example, if you want to make a living out of it, which is something you deserve as like anybody else who could make a living of something they're good at, you need the recognition and you need the galleries to show off your work. You need all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, how did we learn about Gertrudes? If it wasn't for the MoMA recognizing her work and then, you stumbling upon that in a course, it seems like a
circumvention of... Yeah, but how would it be done otherwise? Like...
I mean, Instagram used to be a thing.
But now Instagram is just... It's
that's
noise.
That's why I said used to be a thing.
It's like annoying noise.
Yeah.
And I still, we still find cool stuff, but...
Yeah, we do, but it feels like you have to very actively look for it. And we do actively look for it and we find cool stuff. But I feel like there should be a way to, I don't know. I think I really have high hopes for Twitter. But also there's a lot of things, like, I think everything on the internet nowadays is driven by popularity.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Queen contest.
Yeah.
Which is I remember, for example, many years ago, maybe like 10 years ago or more, I worked organizing a photo contest, and it was a photo marathon. So that means that the photos have to be taken at a specific time, right? And it was about photography and science, because that's what I was doing. When we were discussing, okay, how are we going to decide who wins? Who wins the first, the second, and the third prize of this contest, right? Like, we had either two options, right? Because we wanted to not make it only jury, but we also wanted the people that are going to enjoy this exhibition and these photos to choose which one is the best, right? So there were two options. Either you put all the photos and then you let people to vote. You get a short list of 10, 20, whatever you decide. And then you have a jury that selects from those ones the best ones, right? Or you do it the other way around. You use a jury to do a short list and then you let the public to vote which one is the best. And we were always talking about like, yes, but always either or option, what the public votes, it's gonna be who has more friends, who brings more people into the system to give a vote for them, and that dilutes what we really wanted to showcase, which is like the value of the photo as a photograph, as an image, and as a piece of art that has been created for this purpose. So in the end, I decided to do the jury selects the 10 best, then those 10 we exhibit them physically in a gallery, and then the people can vote the ones that they like the most. So at least you are ensure that the 10 final ones are going to be 10 good pieces of art, and then even if the one that wins because he has more friends, at least it's something that is worth giving a prize for, right? But it is like that, and it's the same with social media. Just because a photo has 100,000, a million likes, doesn't mean that it's a good piece of art.
Right. I agree. You know, well, here's one thing. I feel like there's a lot of cool communities nowadays on places like Discord, for example. That we do. We are members of a few servers, and you can find the links to those in the description. And they do have contests. They do have, for example, One More Stop. They have a running. I like the way they do it, where they
With
have
the
a running,
starboard?
and then you get on the starboard, and then the other members are voting. So and everybody is a photographer, and I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping when I go and vote, I don't look who posted the photo. I just
look at the
I
photos,
look at
yeah.
the photo. I don't really like keep tabs of who voted for me, for example, and then I
No, definitely no.
but I mean, it's a human instinct kind of to do that. So maybe but I'm not saying that anybody's doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying how
That is not the at least the rule or the way that it works. Yeah.
I told my friend one time about he's on Instagram. He's starting like a beginner photographer. He's doing a lot of work. He's improving, but at the beginning he was like, I told him that I don't look at the posters even on Instagram.
Yeah.
I only look at the photos.
Yeah.
I kind of developed this swiping technique, which I swipe and throw the username out of the frame when I stop. So I don't, because you're subconsciously gonna notice who it is. Like if I feel like I'm a fan of a photographer, I notice that I double tap even before I analyze the photo and see do I actually like it? And
it's
so
a bit of a auto.
yeah. So I started I wanted to be more critical. I wanted to, because again, Instagram, as Devin mentions here, that the algorithm is, it's he's saying that IG is very difficult to work within and overcome the algorithm. You're right. That's why I think I'm slowly migrating to Twitter.
Yeah.
I've been posting more on my Twitter account, and I feel like I abandoned my Instagram now for the second time, because the account that I link and everything is my new account. I have one actually with more followers that I don't use anymore, and I wanted to start with a clean slate, and I built up a nice following. Given the fact that I hardly ever post there, I'm surprised by the response that I'm getting, which is quite positive. But at the same time, it's just the way I feel about the app makes me don't want to share on the app.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong,
I feel a bit like that too.
I love some of the creators there. I don't know. Actually, let me just double check. I think I saved something for today's show. Now that I'm thinking about it, there could be a piece of news.
So Devan is saying, for the One More Stop server, I want to find an option where people submit to a bot and the bot posts the photo to our gallery. So the same reasons you mentioned of unconscious bias. So maybe talk to, because in our other server that we are there, in the film photography, it's not that, Devan, they are doing that for the contest. So we are going to be jury of a contest that is completely anonymous. So they make a bot called Bortra 400 that when people submit their photo to the contest channel, it reposts it with just a number, a tag. You don't know who posted it originally. So if you want, I can put you in contact with the person that created this bot, because maybe you guys can collaborate and maybe make a similar bot for the other server, if you're interested about that.
It seems like there's a hack going around on Instagram.
What's happening?
I got it 7 hours ago, but I'm so good at social media that I just saw it. One of my friends, hold on, how do I hide his name?
You can know.
Maybe I can do this. Yeah. Because
okay,
that's his.
Yeah, Devan is saying it's pretty cool. Okay, then I'll put you in contact through Discord so you guys can talk about it.
So I got this message. This took me a few hours to make. I really hope you love it. Look, and then...
don't do it.
Yeah, and then he immediately texts me after, don't click the link. It's a hack. So thank you for...
Tell him.
I mean, I wasn't...
gonna click the...
yeah. I mean, it took me a few hours to see. But yeah, I remember what I wanted to show you guys. This was really, really cool thing that I... Wait, wrong button. All right, let's see here. So...
yeah.
Carmencita Film Lab.
Okay, 1 second. Are we done, I guess, with the photographer of the day?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
Did you have anything else?
No,
We
I think
finished all the
we
photos.
showed all the photos. Yeah, so I just to say again that I'm very happy that we were able to talk about her. I hope that just by chance some people come across this and they see her work. And if you are in New York or you're gonna go to New York before September 26th, please go to see the exhibition, even if it's just for us. Maybe send us a picture if you're there. That would be cool.
Would be cool for sure. So yeah, Carmencita Film Lab in Spain is one of Kodak partners, I think.
Yep.
So they're like, because this is an argument that I've had many times, and I'm not an expert on the subject, but I've been doing it often. I feel like to kind of have,
An opinion, at least.
A somewhat educated opinion about the subject. And is that like certain films have a look, like, you look at a film and it should look a certain way.
Yeah, that's what people say.
And some people say. A lot of other people argue that what I believe is that everything is an interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these different looks you see are interpretations of what the negative is, because it's a negative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a reference. From the start, the negative is a reference, kind of, that is not a direct reference, kind of like slide film.
Yeah, it's an intermediate step.
Yeah, so slide film is, because it is what it is. You shoot it, you develop it, and then you project it. There is no place to interpret anything.
To change things.
It's just straight up. You shoot it, develop it, project it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But print film, there is a lot of things that can go to it. Like you shoot a photo of something and it comes out as like looking like an orange mess of blobs, and So here what they posted, which is really cool, is this comparison between Noritsu and Frontier scanners. And these are scanners that are widely
the industry standard kind of thing.
Basically industrial. So back in the day, you take still not to nowadays, you take your film to the lab. They're either going to go with a Frontier or a Noritsu. And remember also that there's a lab technician sitting there, and they have basically like
choices,
kind of like filters. They can add points like green points, magenta points to do your white balance.
Mm-hmm.
But here even you see there's a different contrast level. So these are shot at the same time, I guess.
It's the same photo.
It's the same photo.
Yeah.
Scanned with the Frontier and Noritsu, and you can see the color of the sky looks very different.
The colors are different. There's more photos, not only this one.
Yeah,
it's amazing how different it is. And
like, so for example, if you are, thinking that, what is this film again? Is it Kodak Portra?
It doesn't say, actually. I think they only say, it doesn't say. They just say the differences, overall differences between the results of the scanners.
All right, it doesn't say which film it is, but let's say that whatever
it's Portra
it is,
or something,
you'd say that, it has a magenta cast. Well, if you scan with a different scanner, it's going to have a more, greenish cyan cast.
And these are, of course, already touch-up scans to get to the best that you can get and the signature of that type of scanning. But you can see like the colors are really different. That's what they're saying. Noritsu gives you more peach tones on the skins, I think, and Frontier, it gives you more pink tones, I think.
I mean, look at this one. It's a completely different photo.
It's a different photo.
Look at all the sunset pink in the background. It's not existent here on the Noritsu. And the skin tone...
also different.
Also very different. I feel like this one is always... like, oops, what is going on with my browser? It's going crazy. This one is always more cyan.
Yeah. I mean, here it looks... I'm looking at two different screens and I'm going insane because they look different also.
And remember, I'm wearing sunglasses inside, so don't take any of our...
or the color advice.
You know what I mean? But it's just... the levels are completely different. This one seems to kind of mute the highlights more.
Yeah.
Like control here, for example, you can see it. Like here, the face is much more brighter. The kid's face is much more brighter than on this side.
The Noritsu is less contrasty, they say. At least in the description.
Yeah, I guess. Even though this one, it's so confusing. I'm so confused right now. It is less contrasty. The maximum white point is higher on the Frontier.
And the black one as well.
And I don't know. I don't know which one I prefer, actually. I kind of like
I think it depends on the scene and depends on what you want. Here, I prefer the frontier.
To be honest with you, I prefer the Noritsu in all of them.
You think?
Yeah. I prefer the Noritsu
Can
in all
you
of them.
here I prefer the Noritsu. I think, or I will actually put a couple of points of temperature more. But you know that this is really
Like
what
you would
I do. Like I
warm
will
this
warm it
up?
up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, but you know what I feel like? I feel like that this one has a bit too much color. This one...
Yeah, but also how was it the scene?
Do you know what this reminds me? Like the ones on the right, they kind of reminds me of motion picture film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have this like flat kind of look to them. I feel like motion picture film always or often have a cyan touch in
On the shadows.
sometimes on the shadows,
Yeah.
sometimes on the highlights. You see like this green tint that looks so pleasing. It's not like an icky green. It's more like a
Nice green.
what is a fruit that is that color? I
Kiwi?
don't know. No, kiwi is crazy green.
Chirimoya.
Yeah, for sure. You can see it here. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like look
yeah.
at the sand here. The sand is pink-ish.
Yeah, and there
magenta.
is
This one is a
greenish.
greenish cyan, and it's so pleasing. It's so relaxing.
Okay,
to
let's
me.
ask the people at home. Which ones do you like more? Which ones do you like more of what you're seeing here, at least? Not that we don't have the option to choose anyway, but
Yeah, I'm curious too. You know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
I was thinking that speaking of what we were talking about today in terms of like getting, like how do you get people to find new photographers, or like how do you get these people to like get recognized in one way or another?
Mhm.
I have an idea. Maybe like every week we could just feature somebody that like we like their work. Like, like feel free to DM us your photos, and then we will show our picks of the week.
Picks of the week, yeah.
Like we
I mean, that would be very nice. We had these similarities, like, because I think we're just like kind of stopping ourselves from doing things like that because we want to do a lot. So because we were thinking there's a lot of people on Instagram doing cool stuff and we could have them as guests, but having someone as a guest is something much more convoluted because you have to agree on a time, you have to set up a whole episode for it. So I think actually choosing like a couple of picks of the week that we just randomly find and we feature them, we can give them a shout out, just a message, hey, we love this photo, we're gonna talk about it in our podcast this week. If you want to give us a couple of sentences about it or whatever it is, instead of having to be a full-on featured guest.
All right.
It could be something very cool.
I agree. And I'm going to start immediately. How
All
about
right.
this?
Cool.
There are two people in the chat that I've seen their work and I really liked some of their stuff recently. I'm going to just go do this real quick. Let's see.
Guys, you're going to be featured.
Yeah, you. I've seen this photo, and this was actually, we talked about this before on a podcast. This is Al-Walid, and he took this photo that I'm going to hit like on right now. I think I've seen it from the other account. And I really like this one. Yeah, it's stuck in my head.
Nice.
I think this was this with the pinhole? No, this is a Mamiya RB.
Yeah.
But I just love this photo. And, he's right here in the chat. So go give him a follow. That's his Instagram if you like his work. He does a lot of cool black and white work.
Yeah.
So, and he was also playing with the pinhole camera. I think this one was with the pinhole, right?
I think so.
Yeah, this is one of the... We talked to Al-Walid a few episodes ago about metering for pinhole, and then he went ahead and did some cool stuff. I didn't know. I thought this one was with the pinhole for some reason because I saw it at the time. Anyways, so yeah, I really love this photo. Really cool work.
Very nice.
All right, so I'm gonna hide the display again to show you the other one that I liked. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I really like that one.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of my favorites.
Right. So the other one is Devon. That's his handle. I don't know if you can see it.
Devanopolis.
Yeah. and I really like this one. Devin is doing a lot of
6x17.
6x17
Yes.
with the 4x5 camera, and this one is just so cool.
I really love because he also posted one on the server, which is a 4x5 sheet of the wheat field as well.
Yeah.
And it also is very, very nice. But I prefer the 6x17 because it just like gives you, it's like I'm being surrounded by the wheat, you know, like it's more immersive.
I really like
feeling.
how it is. I really like the fact that he filled the whole frame with the
wheat.
With the wheat. He's also doing a lot of cool other stuff. Like this one feels so.
And I really
so
like
alive.
that he's choosing a different way to present his work as well.
Yeah, and the beautiful looking profile, to be
like
honest.
it's really it's nice when you come across something different, you know.
Yeah.
And I say it myself, having my account that is the most typical one, which is just make it square and put one vertical, one horizontal. At least it's a little bit organized. I really like the one with the red background there.
This one?
Yeah, it's really cool.
I knew
This is
you
one
were
of the
going
first
to.
ones that I saw of Devon, and I really like it.
You do like it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I like the black on red because also there's a red.
Sure. Yeah, it's very curated.
Very nice, for sure.
So definitely go give him a follow and a like here and there. Devanopolis.
Right. So these are the two that actually jumped into my head. Like these are two photos that kind of stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking that who can I think of to shout out, and so those were off the top of my head. And if you are interested in being, just DM me. Just DM your work, you know, just post a photo on Instagram, whatever, and just DM me. And I'll save them, the ones that I like. If we don't feature it immediately, maybe we'll feature it, later. And if we don't be discouraged. Just keep sending more work.
He's like, there are bigger versions on Flickr under the same name if you want to pixel peep all the wheat.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. You know, Flickr,
he is one of the new persons that I've seen still using Flickr. I used to have a Flickr when I started. I have really old photos there. Maybe we should do a video going through my old Flickr reactions type of thing.
So, Devin, how do you feel like, maybe you can give us an idea, how do you feel about Flickr as a user? Do you feel like it's more useful? Anybody has tips where photographers can go besides Instagram, like Flickr, maybe 500px? I don't know if that's still a thing, but I remember I used it for like one day, 500px. What do you guys think? What are you using for as a platform to share your work? Where are you finding engagement? Where do you feel like, do you feel like you're making connections with people, making connection with like gallerists maybe?
What is the community like? Yeah.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, it's important that if you're really passionate about photography, you need to have a way to kind of be able to sell your work if that's something you're into. If you don't want to go to the commercial route is quite clear. You got to know the right people. You got to like market your work. You got to, it's a service. You're providing a service. You're a photographer. You become a part of a campaign. Just like there are people who are, working on the taglines and stuff like that. There's a person taking the photos, and it's on like decent work. There's nothing wrong with it. But because you're fans of the show and you're like, you come and watch all of these photographers that are usually we feature, and they're, fine art photographers, then highly likely that you are interested in maybe pursuing similar work.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for somebody like that, the only way that you can kind of get anything back, besides the endless amount of fun you have while doing it, is to be able maybe to sell a print or two.
Yeah.
You can market your website, like you can have a website and sell your prints on it, but I feel like you need a way to get the people to
someone has to market you, right? Or somehow you have to get to the people, right? So that's the thing.
Yeah, but that's like, where are there people like showing up on Flickr and then would click on your link and buy a print? I mean, I haven't tested in setting up any store for my work ever, so I don't know. So this is a question for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we don't get an answer now, but it's an open-ended. We're gonna be here next week, and if you have any cool advice, any good advice, any experience selling prints or on places where to kind of get real potential customers for your work, whether it being Instagram, what are you doing right, what other people are doing wrong, whether it being Flickr, 500px, yeah, leave your comments in the chat
let
if
us
you're
know.
if you're watching with a delay, or leave a comment in the comments, and then everybody is gonna read it whenever they tap on this video. We're gonna talk about it, of course,
Later, some
later.
other time, yeah.
And I feel like I don't like this scarce mentality when it comes to anything in terms of creativity and creation. Like, I don't know if any other people on YouTube have that mentality, for example, because we're all like making videos on YouTube. So I don't know if other creators feel competitive about it,
Mm-hmm.
but we talk often about other channels on the show, and we feel like if you like the show, you're gonna like it whether or not you watch other channels.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't
there
feel
is.
like somebody else would be making something taking away
Yeah.
like our audience, because they're different people, and it's
Yeah.
more personal when it comes to YouTube. Yeah, Devin is saying, I feel like Flickr has less barrier to entry. The tagging system makes more sense than IG, and discovery from tags actually happen. Groups are alright, but there isn't much user-to-user interaction.
Yeah. It used to be much, much more back in the day.
More people see my work on Flickr by analytics. However, more people comment or DM through the IG.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're getting more exposure on Flickr, but more interaction
On Instagram.
Interesting. I don't know. I think we talked about this last week, but Twitter
Has the potential.
surprisingly I missed it this whole time because of the way it works. All you need to do is all you need for something to happen is people interact with their work, and it's immediately by doing that. Like I'm getting a lot of cool photos on on Twitter because I start following Tetanol, Ilford, Kodak, Emulsive, Cool Camera Club, I think is the name.
Cool Camera Club, yeah.
So I'm following. These are the first 5 accounts that I started following when I reopened my Twitter with the purpose of finding photography. And just since I follow these guys, I see a lot of photographers that I don't follow. Some of them I like their work, and so I follow them. Some of them I just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
So I feel like the way Twitter works is really cool because of how it shows you stuff from other people that you already follow in your home screen, rather than the broken explore page page on Instagram.
It's completely broken.
Basically full of reels that are reposted from TikTok. Saying.
Yeah, I'm in on Flickr before. I joined 2008. So, yeah. It used to be much more. I actually made a full group of photographers back in the city where I was living, and we used to do photo walks and meeting up every so often, and I got to meet people that had much more experience than I did, so I could learn from them. It was really active, really cool. Yeah, I feel like a little bit photo clubs are very, very useful because you really meet the people that are... I guess our Discord servers now is like our photo clubs, so to speak. We don't meet physically, but we do the same things, which is we talk about photography, we share techniques, we share our work, we even have contests, all the stuff like that. So I think Discord, it's in a way making more transnational photo clubs in a way like this, and I'm really happy that we got into Discord and we found these places and these people. I
agree, but still now with the pandemic kind of slowly life is coming back to normal.
People are not on the computer all the time. Yeah.
Go out and find a photo club. Find a local darkroom, a community darkroom if those exist where you are. You might not have thought about it before. I know I haven't until Eva told me, and there is one here in the city that we live in. There's another one in the nearby city, the next city, basically the city next door. But we're in Sweden, so like maybe, you know, in Sweden these are. I know I was talking to this photographer in California. There was a few, but they're more scattered. But yeah, check your local community for, especially that most of us here are into film and analog work.
Yeah.
You need access to enlargers, you need stuff like that. Check it out. Do some search, and maybe if now where you are, life is back to normal and you feel energized and want to go out, then go ahead, see if there's one near you and go make friends. Go print some of your work if you don't own an enlarger. Usually those, the way they work, you pay a monthly fee and then you get to use some of the equipments that they have there. You get to go inside the dark room and maybe book it and whatever.
Yeah, maybe you pay for consumables or you bring your own, depending. Yeah.
Yeah, you can, basically like developer and paper and stuff like that. It could be included in the membership fee, or it could be that you get to use the facility, but you bring your own paper and developer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, check those out because maybe you didn't think about it before. I haven't. And I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
I was thinking this was going to be a shorter one because we didn't find a lot of photos by Gertrudes. I keep thinking of Astrud Gilberto.
Yeah.
Gilberto. I don't know how you say her name either. She's a Brazilian singer. I love her songs or renditions of jazz.
Songs, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, check her out if you like jazz.
Bronzo just joined us, so I guess maybe he can start from the beginning so you don't miss it.
Yeah. And again, even though I keep hating on Instagram, for the time being, is where you can find us. And I'm assuming as photographer is where you are, because,
almost everyone is there, yeah.
A reminder, Bronzo, if you just joined, we decided to, my DMs are open. The same for the Crunchy Fingers DMs.
Or my DMs.
Yeah, we'll leave our Twitters as well in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll make a link tree for Crunchy Fingers and put all the links
we should
in
do
one
that,
page.
definitely.
And then you can either share your work with me on Twitter or on Instagram, and I'll favorite my favorites, and then I'll feature them on a show. And that could be like a small segment in the beginning of every show before we dive deeper into the photographer of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it for today. Anything else?
No, just reminding that next week we will have the live selection of the winner for the Week About Way. So that's going to be during the podcast next Tuesday.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. The video has 100 likes and a lot of participation.
Nice.
And there's a lot of people that they really cannot afford a camera, so they were like, it's very generous if we can. So I kind of hope that the camera really goes to someone that
really needs it.
Yeah.
Me too. Right. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Hope you had a fantastic beginning of the week and continue to have a fantastic rest of the week.
Yes, and thank you for being here, the people that were here, but thank you for listening later and watching later as well.
Yeah. Have a nice rest of the week, everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.